In 2018, sir have joined this as electrical and computer engineering NSUT Namibia. And prior to 2018, he was visiting professor in KL University, Andhra Pradesh, India, on sabbatical leave. In 2017, visiting professor, Sophia University, Tokyo, Japan. 2007 to 2016, visiting professor in France. In 2000, from 2004 to 2018, lecturer in electrical and computer engineering universities of West Indies. And in 2000, from 2002 to 2004, professor and head electrical and electronics engineering, KITS, India. Sir, I published a number of publications in reputed journals and international conference. So I request, sir, please share your screen and start your presentation.
Thank you, Professor. Thanks for that nice introduction. Let me try to share my screen.
Before we start, sir, I would like to invite our director, sir, for a few words, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay. So I welcome Dr. Sastry and other participants. And I know his credentials and I have worked with him, so I know how he has used this field. And in fact, he is called computer engineer more than electrical engineer. So that expertise really helps in getting more and more knowledge, especially in the field of power system, especially in distribution, because he has worked on simulators for distribution also. So I hope his deliberation will certainly enrich us and all other participants. So I welcome him and I invite him to start his speech. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Tomar. You have been my mentor for very long. Thanks for that. Life is always about learning, especially in the teaching profession. Yes, good morning to the participants. Today's talk is about deciding the energy mix. I know you have been going through this 5-day FDP program, Faculty Development Program in Energy Management and Planning in Smart Cities for Sustainable Development that is hosted by Rajakiya Engineering College, Sonbhadra. It is really a privilege to talk on this topic, especially. Probably this is the best platform that I can really share what I have done and all that. This is my recent research. We have about 2 master students and 1 PhD working in this energy mix, specifically in the area of thermal energy. That is very interesting because futuristic smart cities will be powered by thermal energy, whether it is derived from solar or from the geothermal. So, and the third one is the combination of both. When we say combination of both, it is still solar energy. The other possible energies are like biomass, like wind and all that. Today we really look at about the smart cities. You don't see the word smart city, but we will see the energy mix and all that. So what I have in this lecture, basically, we remember, let us say the lecture starts on the assumption that is a new smart city or a new city, a dwelling, what we call a dwelling is coming up. And as an engineer, you are supposed to plan. You are supposed to plan the capacity, means generating stations. You need to put generating stations and supply the power and all that. And I am sure here the title says clearly, your title says, where can I get the pointer? Okay, energy management. We talk about energy management and planning. Exactly, right on that focus. So first of all, you need to understand the nature of the load. Then you may say, Prof, you just told us a new city is coming up and there is no load yet. Yes, load will not be there, but there are standard and well-known approved approaches for quantifying the load or load forecasting. Even you can actually assume the load without any issue, and even you can forecast, and the actual load will follow that forecast and all that. So, but we need to understand the varying nature of the load, which we will do. And then energy mix options. Look at this, energy mix options. How much is what is the impact and all that. I wouldn't go into the environmental details and all that because somebody else would have already delivered. I would see the energy mix options, especially in management and deciding the mix. And when you decide that, you need to keep in mind that there is a nexus between energy and other resources. You want energy? Well, you need to spend something like land, water, food, finances. Energy doesn't come free. So let us see that aspect. Then multi-criteria decision analysis. This has been a fertile area. And more than 3,000 papers have been published since 1990s, and it is still hot favorite if someone wants to publish. And then we deal with two case studies, simple case studies. First one is a simple smartphone application, which everybody can understand easily. And the second one is the energy mix option directly. We will see which energy is the best and why and all that. And then possible negative effects, what's called duck curve, also we will see. So this lecture packs these things. And possible outcomes. I know you're all teachers, not really strictly students competing for a degree or sitting for a kind of a degree program and all that. So research is very important. Professor Tomar sir actually mentioned me that I'm more computer engineer. Yes, I'm a consultant, more of a consultant. Much of my life is spent in engineering consultancy in databases. That is the reason I was lecturing in France on databases and actually information systems, business intelligence, and big data in medical sciences. These are the things that I have worked very actively. In India, I worked in India, Italy, and Canada. These are the countries I worked on power engineering, power systems with databases. So, but at the time, I didn't really pay attention. I'm telling you without any inhibition. I should have published more, actually, given my resources and the opportunities that I had. My piece of advice is one needs to do research. I'm able to deliver this lecture because I have done something. Okay, so each slide almost provides you some project or other, and participants, listeners can kind of interact left and right and all that. I may go a little bit faster in some of the slides and all that, but still it is okay. You can always interact and all that. And this is the work completely I have done on my own. Then we need to understand the options, energy mix options, and then awareness about, you will get some sort of awareness about renewable energies. Remember, energy transition takes place over 100 years. That is the statistics. And with the renewable energy, it may take about 80 years and all that, 60 to 70 years, if it happens in the fast pace and all that. So any engineering science professional can work in this area, because we focus on MCDA techniques more than anything and all that. There is reason for that. It is not just you apply ANN or machine learning and all that. This is really needed. Now, let us understand load curves and load duration plots and demand side management. If you don't understand the load part, which means you don't know your customer and you will not be able to manage your energy very well, because if you don't know your customer, the production, the generation of energy will be it will not be economical. It cannot be properly managed and all that. It is very important in a general sense. Let us say you're producing a product, you're manufacturing a product. You need to follow the interests of the customer. I repeat, if you are producing a product You need to follow the interests of the customer and keep on adjusting the product as the customer interests vary. Here, the technical term is load following power stations. This is a very well-known phrase. For example, coal-based plants are load following. They can adjust quickly. Not every plant, coal-based plants, they cannot adjust quickly because the ramping up will take time. We will explain that and all that. So first of all, we need to understand the load curves, and then duration plots, and also demand side management and all that. So this is the first stage. Those who know SCADA and all that, our power systems are actually managed by SCADA. There will be different feeders in any city. Load data is gathered from each feeder for 30-minute interval. This is the starting point. So there will be several feeders. Let us say, actually within the feeder also, there will be lots of readings, because there will be points from the start of the feeder to the customer. We don't really consider all those things. Even if you consider the start point of the feeder, there will be many points and all that, because whether it is demand side management or load aggregation or load measurement, all these things normally happen from feeder to feeder, because each feeder is different. Okay. Load duration plots are drawn. What are load duration plots? We will see. But we limit the discussion for 1 day, because it can be huge data. So welcome to the data and numbers and all that. Without data, without numbers, nothing happens and all that. So this is what you see is the load curve. Let me explain quickly. This is not the actual load curve. This is what you see in the books, but more or less it is the same thing. What is the good load curve, good representation of load curve? There is no single example, because load curve pattern depends upon place to place, socio-economic backgrounds and type of area, industrial customers, commercial customers, defense installations, government. There are lots of things and all that. So this is one of the load profiles that I considered here. So it is in the midnight. This is the level, and it is going up and peaking around 11 to kind of 14 and all that. 11 to 11 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon it is peaking, and then going down and all that. This is one of the models that most research papers consider. Most important thing, let me please follow this. This is the minimum load that exists throughout the day. That means you must have a plant. This is the terminology, base load plant. I repeat, base load plant. You must have a minimum of about 75 or so that can supply throughout 24/7 by 365. That should be there. Now, okay, fine, sir. I understood. This 175 megawatts or kilowatts, whatever it is. I did not show the units. I know that, but the x-axis itself is the time, 0 to 24 hours. Now, if you let us look at this portion. This is about 350 megawatts or whatever. Okay. We need to supply 350 megawatts over 2 hours. Let us say approximately 2 hours. So we don't have to supply all the 350 megawatts throughout the day. So the duration of 350 megawatts, the need of 350 megawatts is only over 2 hour duration. So that is the load duration curve. This is the daily load curve, what we say daily load profile. Okay. So this is the duration plot. If you see this, 350 megawatts or kilowatts, whatever it is, over 2.5 hours, and 300 is over this. And if you see 75 megawatts throughout 24 hours and all that. So how do you draw this? This itself is, if you are working in this area, whether you are using MATLAB or Java or whatever, you need to program, you need to use XY plots and all that, plot this and then also plot this, because this is important for the plants. If you are a peak plant, what we say peaker means you're capable of delivering the peak load, but you need to know the number of hours. We want 350 megawatts over 4 hours, means you must be able to deliver 350 megawatts over 4 hours over the day. So for that reason, this plot is very important, which means these two plots you should draw. This is the basic thing to start with and all that, but this cannot be published. This is a simple thing and all that. Okay. Now, typical daily profile, most industrial, let us say there is a colony kind of offices and a little industry and all that small scale industry. The load curve will be like this. This I have taken from the internet. This is not really mine, but don't worry, we have a full scale demonstration right in this lecture, which we will see and all that. So this is very important to understand. We are trying to understand the nature of load profiles here. Different. This guy is starting in the evening at 5 o'clock, going up and then taking it easy, and then after hours, after work hours and all that, again peaks and goes down and all that. This is most typical in US and India and China. This is the most typical kind of developed and developing and developed nations and all that, with a kind of residential and commercial mix of society will follow this type of profile. And so we need to design for these requirements our energy mix options. That is the fundamental kind of proposition in this lecture. Okay, this is the load profile, fine, good. And with the energy mix, we know with a lot of energies, and I don't want to go into the merits and demerits of the renewable energies. It is simple. It is possible to integrate solar PV, wind, biomass, and all that into the main power grid. This everybody knows. Am I right? Solar energy is typically only available during the day. If you don't understand this, again, there will be issues, because the lecture mainly depends upon this fact, which is very fundamental thing. Solar energy is typically available only during the day. And especially you go here, if you kind of press solar energy here, because solar energy gets active around this time. So solar energy is a good example of the peaking power. It can deliver the peaking punch and all that if it has the capacity. Okay. So once we know the capacity and all that, we can actually plan a solar PV plant to meet the peak load, peak part of the load. That is one kind of option that we have if we have the land, because solar panels and all that, you can't put it in kind of hand and all that. They require a lot of land and all that. And then wind is available throughout 24 hours, albeit with randomness due to varying and local wind speeds and all that. Unfortunately, in the city areas, you cannot put wind plants. They will be very far, and a lot of losses will be there if you transport power from long distances and all that. But still, that is an option. But the problem with the wind is, you all know that there is a randomness and all that. We don't go into the details, but wind is also an option, which I didn't treat really in this particular one, because I don't want to increase the scope and all that. When you mix wind in the energy mix, it becomes a cocktail and all that. And it is also possible to add local energy production, which is very important, which I did. And that part is called DSM. What is this local energy production? Smart cities, I told you already, smart cities will have some consumers may draw power from geothermal. Some consumers, they may have rooftop solar PV, which is well known and all that. 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt, 3 kilowatt, and up to 5 kilowatt. These are the configurations. Kilowatt P means peak capacity, peak rating actually. We say KWP rating. 1 to 5 is very common in India. Elsewhere, it is the standard. Some people may have beyond that. So that means some customers individually, they're able to produce 5 kilowatts, and most of them are capable of pumping energy into the grid, which means they're not strictly consumers, they are prosumers. They are producers and also consumers. That phrase is called prosumers. So what happens, the net energy that you have to supply, because they're also contributing something. It's just like you and your family going to a pizza with some friends and all that. Then if one person puts the bill, well, that bill will be kind of same pizza. If it is shared and money is also shared, then the net load on the host will reduce and all that. Same thing here. So the net load will reduce if more prosumers are coming up and all that. With the biogas plants are small, and solar PV plants of the individual customers are small, but they contribute. So we supply the difference. So these are all like some most, and the truth is many customers, the ground truth is many customers, they will have diesel gensets, small diesel cells. They are also about 2.5 kilowatts and all that, and they are base load. Once you have the petrol and all that, whether it is delivered, the energy is delivered by solar or petrol or kerosene, whatever and all that, at the end of the day, it is the net energy that we need to meet. So local energy production is very much possible. And another one, very important thing, which we will take up in the demonstration, is the solar water heaters. Let us say you put solar water heater on your rooftop. What happens? You do not consume some amount of electricity because hot water is coming from the roof, solar water heater and all that. So to that effect, the utility loses the opportunity to supply, which means the income will be reduced and the requirement to produce more energy also goes down. So this is the proposition and all that. If you do not know these things, you produce more energy, obviously, and many energy. What is this? Is the word that we would like to use. If there is no demand, you have to curtail your production, which is called energy curtailment, or it is not load shedding, it is the curtailment. So these are the points that we would like to take forward. Okay. Now let us look at demand side management. People are worried, like people means engineers. Engineers are worried about the peak load, which is existing kind of 9 to like 5 and all that. This part of the load causes lot of stress, thermal stress and electrical stress and heat stress. All the things will happen on the system, insulators to transmission systems to apparatus, everything will be heated up and all that. It is better we reduce the peak. That is a known aspect. And how do you reduce? There are two methods. Normally there are different methods, of course. One is increase tariffs for peak hours. If you increase tariffs for peak hours, this is what is done in India, throughout the world, not just in India, everywhere. So if you are consuming power here, you pay more. Now the first question, sir, we are not paying like that. We pay the bill on a telescopic basis. In India, telescopic billing system is used. Up to these many units, this much. If you go beyond that units, this is the charge and all that. That is the telescopic billing. Billing part is very important, but we don't take up that in this lecture because it is too vast. Now, we don't do that. Yes, domestic consumers do not use the time of use tariff. We just, if you are in a home, we just pay as per the number of units and that is it. But if you have a shop, if you have an industry, like commercial and industrial customers, they pay according to the time of use. So the meters are different. The meters will have number of hours and number of units consumed and all that. The billing is done every 15 minutes or every 30 minutes. So that is what the readings are taken every 15 minutes or every 30. Automatically, these are digital meters and all that. And there is a lot of story that is itself by that area itself is a research area and all. And now lower the tariffs for off-peak. You can reduce the tariff, these sections, which means people are encouraged to kind of spend more energy, kind of consume more energy in these areas, thereby avoiding the energy consumption during this and all that. But this is the kind of known things, kind of known knowledge already, 60s and all that. However, things have changed. Now solar has come. It became a big joke. The reason is solar energy is exceeding the requirements. I repeat, solar energy across the world is exceeding the requirements. This is the demand. Let us say your generation, solar generation is going beyond this. What happens? We will see that in the demonstration. So the things are changing. Solar, if you see in India, just Google the top 10 large solar power plants in the world. They're all in India, and mostly they're in South India, and a couple of them are in North India. They're coming up and all that. So that is what. So we cannot ignore these things. This is not yet kind of published and all that, but people know about it, and that is what we call duck curve. Okay, we will see that also. So now I just put this here. You can see the duck here, but we will see the duck later. Don't get excited now. So that is what I'm telling. This is the load curve. Please pay attention. This is the load curve. This is the first peak, kind of first peak and all that, and then this is the kind of load. Now solar energy gets produced during this like this. Now if you see in this diagram, solar energy is dominating the actual demand. So the energy is more, energy supply is more, the demand is less. So if you subtract the load minus the generation, if you take load minus generation, you get a negative value. Am I right? If you subtract load minus generation, you get a negative, which means load suddenly becomes negative, which means you are producing too much solar energy, and that has to be curtailed. Now people ask lots of questions and all that. Sir, solar energy is cheaper. Yes, solar energy is the cheapest. We will see just now. And then coal-based energy is polluting the world. Why don't we curtail coal-based energy? Lots of things are possible. That is what we call energy mix options and all that. And everything comes with a cost that we need to actually quantify, and that is about the research. Now let us look at visualizations. Like if you are programming and all that, these are the requirements basically. You need daily load plot and also load duration plot and all that. How you do this, it is up to you. Most people do not show like these blocks and all that. They still show like a kind of drooping. If you connect all these points like this, you get a curve. You don't get these rectangles and all that. So it depends. And these are the peak shape, and this is how the visualization should be for a load. And we just have seen the peak shaving. My dear participants, please pay attention. This is not what we call, if you kind of avoid this peak load somehow or other, which is causing a lot of stress and all that, that is called peak shaving. So here what we did is that we avoided this kind of darker part. How do you avoid? You can shed the load, you can cut off the load bluntly, or you can apply a lot of this one is shown switching off, but this does not happen in kind of reality. The smooth shaving is not possible because you cannot switch off some sections so that the load is represented like a smooth curve here. That is not possible. Unfortunately, all research papers show like this. This is wrong. Why? We will see. Because let us say you are subtracting 100 from each point. Let us say this is, you see, this is 350 and this is about 250 and this is 100. If you subtract 100 here, you have to subtract 100 from every point. If you subtract 100 from here, it will go down. So it will do zigzag pattern, which we'll see. So this is kind of only for representational purpose and all that. So this is how actually it looks like. Now 100 difference here, 100 difference here, like this and all that. This is the reality. We will see that. And there are other things called load shifting, valley filling, and other demand side management, which I don't want to discuss. You need to understand load will grow over the time and all that. So we try to understand the load, and let us do a little demo here. MS Excel demo. First, we understand the demand side management. Whatever I talked so far, we will demo. And energy mix also I will show in a kind of small way and all that. Let me open my okay, what you see here, welcome to the data. I have taken the data here. Let me show in a kind of zoom up. This is the load in kilowatts, just for kind of understanding purpose I have taken. The load generally will be in megawatts, even for a small place and all that. So we have taken for every half an hour. I'm getting some noise. I don't know. I don't know where the noise is coming. Okay. I hope, can anybody confirm that they're able to see my spreadsheet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay. So here is the load, and I have taken up to 13.5 and all that, and up to 23.5, the load is considered here. I'm sorry, there is a kind of lot of noise is coming from somebody. Abhishek, can you mute yourself, sir? Abhishek. Abhishek, can you mute yourself? Okay. So, oh, this, I don't know how to. Well, I can't mute. Okay. Abhishek Singh, can you mute yourself? Okay, right. Thanks. Let me plot the base case plot. This is the base case. I don't want to go into the programming details and all that. It is simple MS Excel to show you. And this is a base case plot. And the same data, this data is used to do the load duration plot here and all that. Let me just zoom out. That's it. This is the load duration. You can show both of them, but I have shown for some reason because this tool goes beyond kind of doing the plots and all that. So this is the load duration plot, and these two plots are looking different, but they represent the same information. Purpose of this is visualization. Those who are into computer science, they will appreciate visualization. This is very important. This plot is for one thing, and load, and this plot is for load duration plot. This has different purpose. Now peak shaving, this is what the peak shaving is. Same data. Let me delete the plot. And same. See, we have different my PowerPoint discussed different things and all that, like that, this and all that. But the question is, do we have a tool so that we can simulate whatever I talked so far and all that? That is what the attempt here is and all that. So base case plant, this is the base case plot. And I want to do the kind of peak shave, and peak shave is 100 here. And look at this. If I subtract 100 from each points, it will come like this and all that. Okay. But if you want smooth, cap the peak at cap the peak. Capping the peak is different, and shaving the peak is. If you want to cap at 250, let us do the plot. And I want to cap this button. If I use this button, cap or peak. So it is now capping at 250. This is not possible. Strictly, it is not possible unless you have a constant single load and you're switching off that. Even if you switch off that, there will be other loads on the system that cause kind of this smoothness is not possible anywhere. These really happen only in the papers and textbooks and all that. So this is the kind of, and this is a simulation. Basically, if you subtract, now this is the point. If you subtract more, I am putting 200 here, and now I am doing the peak shave. So more earlier, this is 100. I changed 200. Now I click this, so it will go down further. Look at this. How this peak shaving is achieved, that's a different matter. Whether you cut the load or whether you press solar PV, that is the point. Whether you press solar PV. Right now in the world, most cases, wherever there is a land and all that, solar PV is produced beyond the requirements. This is a point. And in India, soon it will happen. In India, it is not happening yet, but there are certain states that I know firsthand that these things are happening. The consequences are not really good. They are kind of, the revenue loss is happening in government owned, typically central government and state government owned thermal power plants. The load is curtailed on the thermal power plants and all that. That is not a good sign, but this is what it happens. The more you add the energy or more you cut the energy, the plots look like this. Let us increase 300 and move on. Okay, I just put 300 here. I still try here. Look at this. So the load is reduced. Actually, it gone to negative. This is the point. Okay, so let me make it 100 back. So you can see that a kind of some portion, a fraction of your load can be safely met with solar. Let us say it is 250, and yeah, this can be safely up to this point, safely can be met by. So here you shouldn't increase beyond this 250 or whatever and all that. And probably you can go up to 300 kilowatts of the plant and all that, and you can take up to 250. That is not a problem, because this energy comes only during this area, because it is solar. Okay, now let us, this is an interesting plant. Remember I told you we can add solar PV. We can also add solar thermal, because some of the rooftops may have what is called solar water heaters. Whenever solar water heaters are there, some energy will not be consumed, because they get hot water directly from the sun and all that. So they avoid consuming electrical energy from the grid. So we need to take into that consideration, because the consumers are doing their own things. They're not taking your the board's supply and all that. Let us look at it. This is the base plant. Okay, this is straightforward. This is the base plant, and I want to add solar PV here. So if I add solar PV on this, this is the original base plant. Okay, if I add solar PV, this is the solar PV, red one, and this is the new load now. Net load is decreased. Whether this is owned by a private company, whether this is owned by a group of people, whether it is owned by the state, it doesn't matter. As long as there is a solar injection is there into the grid, you get the net load reduction. And you can change the values here. Of course, I have everything is in a spreadsheet. This is a simulator. This is a simulator to manage the energy. Okay. Now let us add solar thermal. Solar thermal, typically people consume in the morning and in the evening, the hot water consumption generally, though you can change the values as you want. So according to my kind of data, this is the solar thermal. And I did not add, in this case, I added only solar thermal. So these two are, now the load is reduced here and here to this effect. Now, if you add both of them, this is the condition. So you have solar thermal here, you have solar PV here, solar thermal. So the net load decreases nicely like this. If it is coming, this energy avoidance, what we call energy avoidance, is coming from the consumer end, boards will lose an opportunity to supply this part of the energy, and we need to calculate the revenue loss. So for each section, the engineers or the researchers should calculate the revenue difference, the total revenue difference, losses or whatever and all that you need to calculate. There are lots of things that have to be done. I don't want to go into the details there and all that, but these are all research opportunities. As you see, this tool is not published yet. I'm still working on this. So you all can understand what I mean. Then we have the valley fill, which I don't want to do and all that. Load growth is very simple. There are standard formulas and all that, which will show the original load is like this. And after a few years, the load will grow like this. And you have to plan over the years. This is the area additional capacity that needs to be added. That is the management. That is the management part. Okay, if the load growth is projected like this, additional load is like this, for that part, for that energy, amount of energy, you need to plan. And if some of the plants may get outdated, they may be removed and all that, so they need to be replaced and all that. This calculation goes on forever, but you need a simulator again. Now let us understand the energy mix option and all that. I'm just deleting some of the plots here and all that. So what it is basically, let us mix. I don't want to do a kind of complicated thing and all that. I have lots of tabs here to mix wind, biomass, geothermal, everything I have, but I don't want to. This is a 1 hour lecture. I don't want to make things complicated. And let us say you have a coal plant of producing 200 megawatts. Coal plant produces constant output. If you ask the coal plant to adjust, remember it is coal. It has to be heated. It takes about 10 hours to heat up the coal plant and about 12 hours to shut it down. So they cannot kind of adjust. They cannot follow the load quickly. So they are not load following power plants. Don't think that they can follow the load following power plants and all that. Okay. So, and now this is the plant, and let us add solar PV generation. We have the data already, and with this, you can change this data also. For example, let me change this data. Morning 8 o'clock to peak hours 14 hours. Let us change it to actually you can get up to 16 and peak. Sorry, this is about 12 and ending hour is about 17 also you get, and peak power you don't have to change. And this is what happens if you can. Let us do this up to kind of 14. Okay. Yeah, let us say your solar PV is looking like this. Okay. So if you add these two plants, how the energy looks like. That is the point. So this will be your new energy. So this base plant, coal plant, is providing 200 megawatts like this. And now we have a solar plant that actually adds on top of it and all that. So this is how it looks basically. Energy mix. This is what we call energy mix. I just want to, why we add solar PV? Because solar PV is best in its segment to meet the peak load. Peak load. Okay. If this solar guy is not there, what happens? Sorry, too many plots here. Okay, if this solar is not there, and if you have to meet the entire load, this guy should be going up to 250 or whatever and all that. It will be a full block of rectangle, and the load is like a curve. So what happens? There will be a lot of load. There will be, okay, let me add again. And if you produce up to 500 megawatts coal, this region and this region, the energy has to be curtailed from because it cannot be utilized. So it will be kind of wasted because you are curtailing the coal-based, the energy from the coal-based plant. That is uneconomical. But you cannot avoid everything. Let us say you have 100 megawatts of load demand. You need to put at least 130 megawatts of capacity because there will be lots of losses and all that. Minimum 130 megawatts generation must be there. So this is what the ballpark figure, kind of 30% and all that. So though people say 15%, but 30% is the reality and all that. So with this, we stop this and we go back to the lecture, and we demonstrated both of them. Now let us look at the cost because we want to mix the energies now. And the solar PV, this I have taken from one of the Lazard is most reputed resource to get the land usage, cost of energies and all that. They do every year. So solar PV right now is the cheapest, followed by wind and gas and geothermal, blah, 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 blah. So obviously solar PV, solar thermal, they are wind. These are the favorite candidates. Solar PV is the cheapest power right now and all that. But the story doesn't end there. This is one of the reasons why we are producing more solar power. There is nothing wrong in it. This is a very clean power and it does not pollute the environment. Most people do not understand the environmental pollution challenges. That is a deadly menace. India and the world, everybody, Americans and all that, they are the victims because of the cancers, because of the lifestyle diseases, and there are lots of things that are happening with that. It is very well proven wherever you use energy, like energy from environmentally friendly resources, the general health is much better. Okay, so you cannot compare the costs and all that just like that. This table is from internet, again from Lazard. It shows solar PV to conventional and all that. It compares. Each energy comes with a condition. For example, solar PV is available only during parts of the day, generally for 5 hours, that everybody knows. And it is peaking, and but it is intermittent and all that. Okay, and then each gas peakers, they are also a kind of a load following. Yes, it is load following. Solar PV is not load following. It follows the load only during the peak hours, but after that it cannot, because it doesn't exist. That is the problem. We need load following energy resources. Only energy mix is possible for that. So that is the reason this lecture, or the concept of energy mix, is very important and all that. So each energy comes with its own kind of condition, disadvantages and advantages and all that. Now there is a nexus between water, land and energy. People should understand this is the point that mostly ignored in research. Well, research is there, but normally in the university situations and all that, or general talks, TV shows or whatever, they forget the nexus and they say solar, wind, biomass and all that. It is not like that. One needs to understand there is a nexus. Nothing is free. Energy, if you want energy, you need to spend water. And if you want food, you need to spend energy. For food, you need water, because if you don't plant the plants and supply water, you don't get food. Do you want water to be transported to your apartment? You need energy. Water does not come to your doorstep if you do not actually transporting the water, purifying the water. They're all energy intense applications. So these three are not complete. They don't represent the full picture and all that. Now let us look at, we need infrastructure, we need finances. A water purification plant, the water purification plants are very large outside. They're huge apparatus. A lot of electricity is used there and all that. The finances, most projects, they typically start and will be kind of consuming money over 10 years and all that. 5 to 10 years is common. Even in solar PV plants and all that, we have to spend up to the first 3-4 years, probably later and all that. There are lots of issues. You need a lot of land and all that. Okay, it has significant impact on environment and national security. You all know the kind of neighbors we have in India. I don't want to name, you know that better. National security is very important. One of our neighbors, especially Sri Lanka, I can give that example, right now suffering from scarcity of food. Scarcity of food, because it is kind of known from the media, which means that their currency is kind of distorted. It has plummeted. There is no food. There is no money. They are in deep debts. This is the problem of what is called national security. Just imagine India does not have its own production. What would have happened? We have to depend upon our neighbors. Still, people should know that we get substantial electricity imports. I don't know how many of you know. Do you think India imports electricity? From which country? India imports electricity from Bhutan. Bhutan is the kind of well-resourced, probably the best in the world in hydro segment and all that. So we have a friendly relations with that country and all that. But without Bhutan also, India can manage. The plants are very aggressive. In the last 10 years, lots of things are happening in India, especially in solar PV segment and all that. You all know that. So it has an issue with national security. You can't measure in now environment, food spectrum, and general well-being of the society. Okay, sir, we understand all these things, very common sense. Now let us look at the units. Land is measured in acres. Water is measured in gallons or liters. Infrastructure, how do you measure infrastructure? Well, I'm the teacher. I don't answer because I'm a comfortable guy. Finances, probably rupees or dollars. And then how do you measure environment? Well, I don't answer because I'm a professor. How do you measure national security? There are no units. Food spectrum. Oh, I don't know what is food spectrum. Probably food means breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. How do you measure general well-being of the society? Which is prioritized in these things? Because there is an excess. This is the point. And this is published this is still evolving work. There's a lot of scope in this area. Well, this is another infographic here. Security, water scarcity, water security, energy security, food security. National security is not shown here, which needs to be shown. And you can draw these diagrams, but if you do a simulator that quantifies these things and all that, that is publishable and all that. Okay, that is what I'm trying actually. Now, water use, people do not understand. If you want to power 1,000 homes, this diagram I have taken from the internet. If you want wind, if you use wind, you don't need any water. And solar thermal with dry cooling, you need 26 gallons of water to power up 100,000 homes. Okay, solar photovoltaic, you still need water. Don't think that for cleaning purpose. Yes, you have to clean solar photo. Typically, it is done with water sprinklers. So you use still about 26 gallons and all that for 1,000 homes. This is a rough approximation. Is about a little over 1,000, but let us take 1,000. Okay. Natural gas, you need about 200 gallons. This is the bulk. And nuclear, 672 gallons. And coal is this much. Solar thermal is this much. That means water is required. Okay. And now the land. This is taken from another resource. Not the best example, but these guys really use in a different context. This is the American context actually. Acres per gigawatt per year. So solar requires about 8.33 acres per gigawatt hours. These are the units, gigawatt hours. This is perpetual, means forever. The moment you put solar plant and all that, you can't really do much and all that. Okay. The other things are there here and all that. Wind, you need more land. Most people think that wind, you don't have to put anything. No, that is wrong. We have to put a lot of land for the wind and all that. Then hydro, it takes a lot of time. Biomass, you need a lot of land and all that. So this is, some countries have the land, some countries do not have the land. For example, especially small islands, they will not be able to afford these cleaner technologies, and that is the point. So you can understand, this also shows some kind of nexus and numbers and all that. Let's move on. Now, coming to the literature, I just quickly would like to spend some time here. This, now we are going to, so the point here is, there are different issues because each is interlocked with each, and we are now talking about energy mix. So how do you prioritize? Without kind of mincing my words, we call an approach called MCDA, multi-criteria decision analysis. That is, and it is very popular, and it is the only way to do in a best possible way. Okay. So here, renewable energy problems, it is well done. Not just renewable energy. If you are a civil engineer, if you are a mechanical engineer, also there are lots of papers that are more than 3,000 papers have been published in MCDA. Application to different fields of engineering, including tertiary education. In education field also, MCDA is applied. Support decision, and this is the support decision making process. Okay, this is a 2020 paper. And another paper, if you see review on multi-criteria decision analysis in sustainable energy decision making, this paper is kind of 2009, which means in 2009 also MCDA is active. Okay. And use of multi-criteria methods, MCD. Look at this, MCDA and MCDM, multi-criteria decision analysis methods. Well, people use different phrases, and this paper is actually from 2005. This is 2021, MCDA energy planning. These are all not mine. And look at the title, review of MCDA applications to solve energy management problems, which is directly related to the topic title of your FDP. 2 decades, 1995 to 2015. That means this paper would have dealt with, I did not read this paper. This is a good, I just looked at the kind of content, but it is a very valuable paper. And this paper itself is published in 2017, which is a very recent. Okay, which means this area is active. MCDA and renewable kind of energy mix, this area is very active. And this is a kind of counter argument. There are some number of methods which I will explain. A few I will explain. One of them is very popular method is Topses. Topses does not, is a kind of tough guy. This guy doesn't give same results. It doesn't give correct results and all that. So there is a paper on this aspect also, 2020. What it means to you? Why I am listing these things from the internet? The reason is to push a point towards you that this area is active. There are some methods, they are kind of tough nuts, and they don't give. It is okay to have those methods. They differ from the regular stream and all that, and there is a lot of computation that is involved and all that. And MCDA for renewable energies, research trends, gaps, challenge. This is a good paper. I have read it. If you are really looking to publish a couple of papers and all that in good journals and all that, this is the paper, 2021 paper. This one should read because it has identified some nice gaps, but don't get kind of in any way. The gaps are true, but they're very ridiculously simple to kind of achieve. If you are a programmer on MATLAB or MS Excel or Java or any of these, you can do wonders and all that. Okay. And this is my publication, 2021. Accept it will come very soon online. It is a MS Excel tool for MCDA analysis in energy systems. The MS Excel demo that we have seen is nothing to do with this. This is a different tool, a novel MS Excel tool with MCDA. I will introduce MCDA and then we do a demo on the MS Excel tool that I developed and all that. And with this demo itself, one can write paper because it is already in the public domain. The tool itself, you can download and use it and all that. This is the tool I am talking. You can download directly right away. MS Excel tool for MCA methods. This is published in 12th July 2021. This is me, KS Sastry Musti. And you can freely download. You don't have to ask anybody. It is free. You can download and you can run your simulations and all that automatically. But the tool itself is kind of very small because I myself have to publish. So I kept it kind of, when you download, you will see. Okay. So, okay, coming to the MCDA, there are lots of methods. You see AHP, so many methods. Okay, outranking methods, interactive methods, and all that. So there are more than 200 methods are there, which means there are a lot of scope, and you need to read a little bit and you need to program some of the methods and compare with each other. All these things are happening. A lot of papers are published in this area, and a significant interest is there for policy decision makers and all that. Now, when you do this, this evolving decision-making process, actually ignore the title is wrong here. Let us say you are in a situation that you have too many parameters where you can't decide, include or exclude some of them. Some of them are detailed, some of them may be vague, certain or uncertain, just like, different parameters without single unit of measurement. Consensus are fragmented, iterative, rigid, unstructured, blah, blah, blah. And then you need to do risk analysis, modeling or monitoring, cost benefits, and stakeholder. This is very important. Stakeholder opinion is very, very important. Opinions are important because we are humans. Opinions are important. We will see why and all that. So decision makers, this is a kind of infographic. So if you have this type of situation, then MCDA works better. Let me put a simple example. Let us say your younger sister. You know what is meant by younger sister? She is neither fully grown or not too dumb. Okay, she wants to buy a smartphone and she wants you to assist her. That is the example. Now, what you do with that? How do you go about it? She knows certain things and she doesn't know certain things. That is the best example. We resolve that also. Okay. Now, coming to the application itself and all that, MCDA is well kind of in different areas. In water and environmental engineering is 14%, energy, most of the cases are there. So this is a good lecture for this FDP itself. Food is about 7%. These are the different areas where MCDA has been already used and all that. In building construction, there is a I have one master student who is actually from civil engineering structures working with me on this. Mobility is 16%, like electrical vehicles and all that. If you are into electrical vehicles and all that, this is the one and all that. Every area you can apply. And in energy systems, for sustainability studies, SWOT analysis, barriers, and selection of typical source. This is the point for energy mix. A lot of work has been done in this and all that, and we also do one example in this lecture. And this is the tool actually that I'm talking. If you download and open the tool right now, I will open. This is how it looks. If you see here, smartphone example, what I'm talking, and a renewable energy example. With that, our lecture ends and all that. So MCDA, present proposition. Researchers and policy makers, they have significant interest. Nobody can deny that. Okay. MS Excel is being used as a platform, but tools are not available in public domain. That is the problem. My tool is one of those tools, but it is not fully, it is an example. I would say that. Okay. I wouldn't really beat my own example down, but is what it is. Application of MCDM in energy studies is of significant interest to many, energy studies especially. And then at present, there is no single software tool that can apply different MCD methods, multi-criteria decision methods. If I use M, means M stands for methods. If I use A, it stands for analysis. There is an immense need to develop such software tool and assist researchers. And that is the motive for that tool, MS Excel tool. And what leads to the situations? We are very quite bad at making complex and unaided decisions. Well, your sister wants a smartphone. There will be lots of brands, colors, features, and all that. And if you see a shop and all that, at the end, probably you buy a smartphone that is suggested by the shop owner because he has to sell something and all that. That guy prevails because we are quite bad at making a complex, unaided decisions. If you send your school-going son or daughter to the shop with a lot of cash, this is going to happen. Am I right? A variety of psychological biases tend to skew our rationality because we get influenced and all that. We can only keep a few factors in working memory at a time, so we are liable for missing some important aspects. Individuals respond to complex challenges by using intuition or personal experience. And if somebody says, yeah, I'm using this iPhone for 20 years and all that, it is like a rock. Yeah, people get influenced if they listen to you and all that. Okay. Groups can devolve into entrenched position to resistant to compromise. Some guys, they stick to their decisions, their products, even the TV they purchase, they say that is the best TV in the world. These things all we see in the kind of life. These are consideration. If you take such decisions and all that, health and environment considerations will be there, and we will have trade-offs. Look at this proposition, spending kind of 1,000 grand US dollars, construction versus monitoring a restoration, whether you construct or destroy and restore and or whatever and all that. Destroy and construct or restore the existing one. Which is better? I can't really tell and all that. A new construction probably may last longer. And if you do a restoration, it may be temporary and all that, you know. Keeping local stakeholders happy. This is very important versus keeping headquarters happy. Recently, one of the cabinet ministers says states are not willing to accept the change in the tariff structure of the gas. Gas means petrol. In India, it's called petrol. Outside India, it is called gas. Same substance. So what happens is that you want to keep the local stakeholders happy or you want to keep the headquarters happy. That one has to decide carefully and all that. Okay. Let us say your son or daughter wants to buy an expensive phone. Well, you want to keep the parents happy or you want to keep the child happy. There is a trade-off. Okay. For example, 100 acres of woodland versus 100 acres of wetland. That is another proposition. If you don't understand these things, it is very difficult to understand MCDM itself. Why MCDA? It evolved response to the observed inability of people effectively analyze multiple streams of dissimilar information. I've taken from one of the papers. This is a very powerful statement. When you have too many kind of parameters, multiple streams of dissimilar information, as we have seen, then MCDA works better. If you don't have such kind of situation, do not apply MCDA. Simple. Has many different technical approaches based on similar theoretical foundations, then it is very difficult, because if you go to a smartphone shop, it is very difficult to take a decision because there are too many brands. You really need to investigate, research, and when you do that, some of the parameters you keep forgetting when you buy, and when you use it, you say, nah, this has to be changed. This is not there in this. Something like that happens and all that. It integrates, MCDA integrates various technical inputs, evaluations, and stakeholder decision, and it ranks and all that. It allows you to ask the right people for right info. Yeah, this is a good thing that I don't want to dwell much into this, because this is what I'm writing a paper on this and all that. Very interesting, these things. MCDA, why a particular alternative is most valued, it will show actually. If you are buying a phone, perhaps people may not understand why it is really good one. Probably you have applied a structured approach and all that, something and all that. Okay, let's go into a smartphone example. This is because I'm talking about it, and we need to give, most people do these things: appearance, cost, screen size, features, brand. I don't want to explain these things to you in the lecture. Obviously, these are some of the things. There may be a lot. I don't want to complicate by putting a kind of list that everybody knows and all that. So how do you take a decision in this case? Okay, we have different phones and different attributes, what I call attributes. Let us make a matrix and decide. Let us look at the comparison and all that. That is what, if you go to any kind of portal, electronic portal or website and all that, you see the comparison side by side. Okay, but they don't decide the best one and all that, but you perhaps can decide because you are fixated to some of the things that you know. MCDA general flow, there is problems, alternatives. This is very important because we have a lot of alternatives in our energies. And criteria, evaluation, decision matrix. These are, lot of methods are there. Most methods they use this, and other methods and then after that we apply weights, synthesis, and decision. This is the approach that we need to. So if you want to program, if you want to work in this area, you need to understand these stages and then apply the computation accordingly. So I don't want to go into these details, but I will tell you how you can understand in half an hour. It won't take half an hour also. It is kind of 3-4 minutes. Probably you kind of go through the paper again and again. You can understand yourself and all that. Now, let us look at the methods. These are the WSM, means weighted sum method. This is very popular. All are popular. I can't say, sorry, I can't say which is better, which is, there are more than 200 methods are there. Each has its own strength and weakness that you have to find and all that. But I put these things because I included Topsys in my tool, because this is a tough guy, normally doesn't agree with others and all that. Okay, order preference by similarity to ideal solution, which we call Topsys. Okay, technique for order preference by similarity to ideal solutions and all that. This is the Topsys. And VASPAS is a very kind of balanced. It combines first and second. So if you sum and product, if you put together, it becomes this and all that. So these are the basic methods. If I put too many things, which I have done, but that tool really gets complex. You really need to get into this MCDA. If you are not into this, you get bored and all that. So there is an algorithm, which I don't want to go, but I will just, first thing, we need to get the products, different smartphones, and their attributes, screen, weight, and all that identified. This is the matrix that should be completed with appropriate values. We will see how it is done. Make sure that there are no zeros. If you put zeros and all that, there will be kind of unexpected results, because you may want to divide, and division by 0 is not allowed, you know that. Identify the beneficial and non-beneficial. This is very, very important. I will explain in right now. Let us say weight. Consider the weight. If weight is too high for a smartphone, that is a drawback. So higher number in the weight attribute is non-beneficial. Simple. Lower the number of the weight for a smartphone, it is beneficial. That is how we categorize. So weight is a non-beneficial one because higher the value, it is not beneficial. Now look at the cost. The higher the cost, that is not good. So higher the cost, it is not good. So it is non-beneficial attribute. So for beneficial, we give 1. For non-beneficial, we attach 0. Let us see. And this is what it says and all that. Some common knowledge, but about that attributes and all that. And then we have some computation. I don't want to deal with the computation because we just want to look at the overall process. You can basically go through yourself. These are ridiculously simple, very simple arithmetic, no calculus involved, and you can do wonders in this and all that. You can use MS Excel straight away and do the things and all that. But look at my Excel and try to do a similar approach and all that. Okay, something steps and all that. Now let us look at smart phones example. I did not put the brands here, but I have taken 5 mobiles, and the price is about 1250, 850, 1400. These are, well, not really Indian rupees. I have taken some currency. This is from Trinidad and Tobago. That is where I worked earlier and all that. There are 5 products. I put 5 here. Beneficial, non-beneficial. Price is non-beneficial. So I put storage, more storage. Yeah, it is good. So 1, it is beneficial. Camera, more pixels, beneficial. 1, beneficial. If it is non-beneficial, we give 0. Okay. Appearance, well, I don't know what is appearance really. More beautiful, probably. So more beautiful, more beneficial. So I give 1. Weight, we already discussed, is non-beneficial. Nice. So these are the actual prices. These are the storage in GBs. These are the camera pixels in megapixels. Appearance. Appearance, this is what you need to understand. Please pay attention. For appearance, what we do is basically we ask kind of on a scale of 1 to 5. For this you give 5, for this you give 2, for this you give 1. These 2 are same, you give the same number, something like that. For example, this one and this one, they are looking same to me. So I give, this is my opinion as a buyer and all that. And probably if you have your sister and all that, if she says 2 phones, they are looking in the appearance category, they are looking, so you give that weights to that, so that to keep her happy, and also to inform, this is very important, inform your sister that her views are honored or her views are taken into consideration. This is what happens in policy making and all that. So we keep this matrix open in the normal policy decision approach, and we calculate and all that. And then we actually give weightages. If you are really not worrying much about the price, you give 50% weightage to the price. Storage is not very important. For example, a person like me, I don't use storage at all, so I would give 0.1. And camera, well, I don't take pictures really, so 0.1. Appearance, it doesn't matter for me, 0.1. But when you add all these things, you should get 1. That is the most important thing. Otherwise, the weight principle of applying weight will be lost. 0.5, this is 0.6, 0.5 plus 0.1 plus 0.1 plus 0.1. If you add all these things, you get 1. So you weight them under 100% and all that, and do the calculation. I don't want to go into the calculations here. So at the end, the 4 methods, weighted sum, weighted product, and VASPAS and TOPSIS, they have ranked Mobile 2 as the best winner. Let us look at Mobile 2. Mobile 2 is the cheap. It has 16 GB. Weight is very less. Look at this. 120, the least weight. Probably it is a feature phone, and appearance, it is not good, but its weightage is less. Look at this. So this is the simplest example, but there will be, in reality, there will be lots of examples will be there and all that. The rest of the things and all that, I don't want to discuss. This is just kind of a idea of solving. This is the actual solution, what you see. And then energies, resources and all that, same thing here. This is the case study 2. So if you have solar PV, wind, coal, natural gas and all that, these are 5. So I put 5 here. And cost, high cost, non-beneficial. Land usage is higher, the land usage is non-beneficial. Environmental friendly, more environmental friendly, yes, it is beneficial. Load following, I told you, I took half of the time of this lecture to explain load following feature. So that is very important. So this is because when you do research and all that, you realize that at the end, it should be following the customer and all that. And weightages, yeah, I put some weightages as I wanted. So at the end, solar PV is costing less. You see that these are the actual costs actually. Uh, and environmental friendliness, I have given 10 for solar PV because it is solar very environmental friendly. 8 for this. Coal is not friendly. I have given only 1. Natural gas is kind of cleaner, but not. It is only 30%. Nuclear is 2. So this is what. And land following and load following is very important and all that. Only natural gas will follow 100%. Coal can follow 8, and nuclear can follow very good and all that. But solar PV only 4. So all the methods ranked solar PV as the winner because it is the most environmental friendly one, and 0.4 weightage this category has and all that. So these are some of the things, is a kind of regular math and all that. And the Topsys doesn't give really. If you see, the Topsys has the first 2 okay, but the next ones are kind of crisscrossed and all that. But to tell you, this is the kind of benign example. If you challenge with complex data that are very close to each other, Topsys certainly gives different, probably the best solutions and all that. One needs to get into this computation, then they will understand and all that. What is called because Topsys uses what is called Euclidean distance. Okay, now let us simulate this one quickly. I know I'm coming to the end of the one. Don't worry, I will finish on time. MS Excel tool for MCDA. If you download, this is how your screen should look. Okay, you have instructions. I provided instructions and all that. And you see my name here. And I have considered 5 here. If you have 5, you can actually I don't know whether it is purple or whatever, light red or whatever. You can fill this, which means you can use all these columns as attributes, and you can add more energies here, whether you apply for smartphones or whatever you apply. Let us say you want to do smartphones, just click here. This tool comes with built-in data so that you kind of don't break your head and all that. So if you click here, the data will be loaded automatically from here. Okay, if you want to add, you can add more attributes and give your own data and all that, not a problem. It still will work. And these are some instructions, example descriptors and all that, some kind of lambda values and all that, all are there. And if you go to weighted sum, weighted product, you can actually clear the data and copy calculate. If you change the values, you can clear and do the VASPAS, clear it and calculate. Topsys, clear, calculate. There are lots of steps in this, so it will give you the internal details and internal results and all that. It is free for download, and at the end you ask for comparison. Compare, it will compare nicely, and the rank is here and all that. This is the input data that you provided, and this is the answer. That is the substance. That is where it ends. The cases and all that, don't worry about the cases. This is actually the input. The input data is located here. So if you run energy mix example, you have this. It is not energy mix, it is the energy decision on energy, choice of energy. You can put your own values and all that. And let me go to, because we just run smartphone mobiles. If you go, mobile example is there, but I just loaded the solar, the energies and all that. But internally I have the mobiles. So clear all and calculate, you will get here. And same thing, clear all, calculate the details. VASPAS method, do the same thing. Basically, I'm executing the methods one by one. And then this is still this one, clear all and compare. Now this is what I can change the values right now and all that, and do the things and all that. That's not a big problem and all that. Let us say if this guy, the cost, let us increase the cost to an absurd value. 2000 and see what happens. Okay, waited some clear all. Okay, let us do one thing, and this environmental friendliness, let us reduce deliberately something to kind of 4, make it 4, and waited some, copy and calculate data. Right. Okay, something happened there. I need to check. Now look at that. Our friend solar is no longer weighted number 1. It is actually pushed to the last. This is the demo. This is the tool that I am talking. You can use for any area of application and all that without any issue and all that. Okay, let's go back to the. This is important. Those who want to do research, this is the takeaway. It provides a reliable methodology that is fine due to different methods often produce different results even when applied to the same problem using the same data. So don't get scared if you're getting different results. Just dig deeper why you are getting different results with the same data and all that. I have got lot of experiences from this one. It is lots of unending opportunities are there. If anybody wants to work with me on this, you are most welcome. We consider, in case if you consider this is, I will take 1 minute about this. People get excited about solar PV. We put more because this is what people don't understand, and this aspect is not done with MCDA. It is not in conjunction with MCDA because we have to include one parameter as Doppler. So what happens? We have the load curves. This is one peak and second peak. If you subtract more, if you put more and more PV energy, it looks like a duck, like this and like this. This is kind of published. About 10 to 15 papers are there on the internet. And recently I also published one paper with simulations from the, I didn't use MS Excel, but I used kind of very reputed American softwares that I have used. And duck curve is real. It is not my view. Is well documented. Let us see the first experience. Who faced it? It is faced in California. This is the one, California, and this was very serious. If you see 190 terawatt hours in 2015, and 305 terawatt hours 2016. India also is facing, but they are not documenting very well. The details are not available yet, but one day it will be available. And those who are kind of want to understand in a kind of through backdoor approach, you need to Google about what is called reverse tendering. What reverse tendering means? What is this, sir? Yeah, let me explain. The reverse tendering is most states are asking the solar PV plant owners, the private power producers, to renegotiate the power purchase agreements. So it is happening in India, which is good or bad. I'm not getting into the debate right now. So that itself is a good topic of interest to research and all that. And basically, power purchase agreements are drawn for 20 years. So you would have invested, you would have worked out your calculations, finances for 20 years. But suddenly the government wants to renegotiate with you simply because some other guys are coming with lesser quotes because solar energy technologies are coming down. There may be another guy who wants land from the government, and they may offer the energy at much lower price than what you are actually authorized to do through power purchase agreement and all that. So that is a serious matter. So with that, lots of things are happening and all that. So what happened in California, especially, this is a well-documented experience. Many countries are suffering with this right now. I'm not against solar PV, but you need to have the quantification properly. Solar PV is the best for the world, but we need to have. So what happened due to duck curve phenomena from kind of 4 p.m. to this peak, second peak, which occurs about 8 o'clock and all that, they needed kind of 3 hours. 13,000 megawatts in 3 hours. That is a significant stress on coal plants. That means because solar ends around this time. At 5 o'clock, solar ends. Now the load is going up, so solar is not available. You need to put other energy into the service. And solar and the coal plant cannot just come in. It can't come in. You can't switch on just like that. Or throughout the day, the plant must be switched on, whether people use it or not. That is the alternate solution. So this problem is known as, because it looks like a duck, it is called Ducker. You go to IEEE, there are some paper, IEEE Explore, papers are published and all that. So this is what, this aspect is a negative effect. So don't think that MCDA once and you rank solar energy high and you take proportions and all that, but there is a way to deal with this. And quantification, energy mix. I did not actually explain the proportions of energy mix because I want to publish it, but you can make out naturally and all that, okay? So these are the results and plots. There are solutions are there, energy curtailed. For example, energy curtailment cannot be avoided. We have to curtail. Unfortunately, energy is curtailed in good sense. If somebody has a financial sense, they will curtail solar PV, not the coal plant. You need to find the reasons, okay? And it can be offset with pumped hydro. The simulations are there. I don't want to go into the details because the lecture itself is on MCDA. And energy curtailment with concentrated solar power. There are 1 or 2 plants coming in India, but this is not yet popular. There are environmental issues even with CSP and all that. Conclusion, MCDA can be used for solving energy mix. Software needs to be developed. MS Excel tool can be used, but you can use other tools also. The areas of MCDA, energy mix, and Ducker are significant interest to contemporary researchers. With this, I end. I hope I brought something that is of interest to the floor. I end, and over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Shastri. If there is any question, it's open to you. Any participant, if has any question, can ask.
Feel free,
You are free.
feel free, because this is not exact science. MCDA is exact science, but the solutions will be differing and all that. Any sort of discussion, I would be happy, and I will be able to answer.
Any questions from the participants?
I think it goes on in broadcast mode only. Participants are either having more knowledge or they have understood nothing. That's only 2 ways. Otherwise, there must be some question if you have gone through some different topic.
Yeah, I am seeing the chat here. I don't
If
see
participants have any queries, he can also message in chat box also.
Yeah, chat box. I would appreciate. I would,
They are more conscious of their attendance link they are asking, not for questions.
Santosh Tripathi, have you any query?
I see Professor Virendra Thakur. I do not know if he can talk. Namaste, sir. Virendra Kumar.
Yeah, Thakur Saab, go ahead if you have any question or any feedback.
Yeah, any feedback, any questions, that is fine.
He is from Pori. I know him.
Yeah. Yes. He's very active on social media.
Okay, then thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for giving a very informative lecture.
Shall I leave the meeting?
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you.